My brother Chris was diagnosed with a glioblastoma, a brain tumor, which is stage 4 brain cancer. He was 34 years old. He was a family man. He was active. He was a runner. And out of the blue, he was diagnosed with this incurable stage 4 brain cancer.
I had just proposed to my wife when I was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. I have a GBM, or glioblastoma. Mine is grade 4.
I was 34 years old when I was diagnosed with stage 3 anaplastic astrocytoma, which is a type of brain cancer. The tumor was extremely large in my right temporal lobe.
Head for the Cure is a nonprofit organization we established 15 years ago with a simple goal to help people that are facing an unwanted and under-researched diagnosis of brain cancer, help them to live a more complete life. Head for the Cure started really with an idea to really do an event, a 5K. My brother Chris was diagnosed with a glioblastoma. He lived 2 years, and he lived 2 extraordinary years. A couple months before he died, we were actually on a short bike ride, and he said, "Hey, man, we should start a 5K." This disease is unclear to people. People aren't aware of it, which means it's also under-researched. And so, man, if I can help one person by starting a 5K, let's do it. So he died a few months later, but pretty easy to honor a brother's request. So we held our first Head for the Cure 5K in October of '03. We raised $20,000 and had about 300 people and thought we crushed it. So much so that we said, let's do it again. So we did the next year and the next year. And after 5 years, we saw that there was real momentum that also was needed outside of Kansas City. So at that point, we officially founded the Head for the Cure Foundation, and we began to grow. And we established relationships with the top academic cancer centers around the country. We put together a collaborative of what's now 34 brain cancer centers across the country to work together to initiate clinical trials in multi-center organizations. So what started as my brother's idea has extended into a movement of people facing this disease all around the country. Head for the Cure helps every person facing a brain tumor. We're focused exclusively on brain tumor disease, whether it's low-grade tumors or up to high-grade malignant tumors. Research is needed mostly for malignant tumors, grade 3, grade 4, astrocytoma through to glioblastoma, which is the tumor that's sort of most famous because it also has the most dire consequence. It's almost counterintuitive that the cancers, the diseases that have the least amount of funding are those that have the lowest survival rates, and that's certainly true with a glioblastoma.
I became involved with Head for the Cure in such a cool way so early on in my diagnosis, and I'm so lucky for it. So early on, just a few days after I got out of the hospital, I won my wedding. I won a wedding on the on the radio. I got the call, hey, you're getting married in 9 days, that sort of thing. And with that came some publicity. Like, oh, this brain cancer survivor has won a wedding. And then I randomly get a call from the news. And they're like, hey, we heard about this. We would love for you to be on the news with this guy that founded a local brain cancer prophet. His name's Matt Anthony. And I was like, well, absolutely. So I rushed there, and 10 minutes later, Matt and I are live on the news.
All right, we are back live on Fox 4 News at 9, and typically at this time on a Wednesday, we introduce you to our nonprofit spotlight, right?
That's right. So Kathy Quinn has everything we need to know about the organization this week. And hey, Kathy, where are you and who are you showcasing?
We are Head for the Cure, and I'll tell you, we're at 17th and Oak. I'm with Matt Anthony, who started this because of his brother right here. His brother's no longer with us, but the race goes on 20 years. It's hard to believe.
It's hard to believe. But it's so exciting. Come out and join us. You're 20.
August 28th. And we wanted to bring you in because we wanted to talk to DJ Stewart. Now we're going to show some video from DJ. You are a survivor.
Matt and I are live on the news. And this is my first time meeting him, but I can instantly tell, like, this guy's here for the right reasons. This guy wants to do something about this, and that's exactly what I needed in that moment.
You couldn't have a better spokesperson than this person.
Gosh. DJ's amazing. What you hear him say is the way he lives his life. We all hear, we want to surround ourselves with people who live a glass half full life. Well, DJ's glass is tipping over the top, and it's really energizing.
Staying positive, I feel like, is a big deal. Another thing that I found really helpful during recovery was looking for strength and inspiration in other people, which is actually how I became aware of DJ. Apparently, we would travel in similar circles. We had a lot of similar friends, and after my diagnosis, people would start coming up to me, just random people would say, hey, do you know DJ Stewart? And I'll be like, no, I don't, but you are the 5th person to mention that to me. So I reached out to DJ on Facebook, and his positive energy and just award-winning attitude really gave me hope and inspiration during some of the darkest times when I could feel myself slipping.
To me, and what I think what matters the most is it's hope. It's a dedicated group of people fighting tooth and nail in the best way possible to bring light and love and community to a situation that has never, ever seen any positivity like it.
We're helping people every day by giving them hope. And this is a disease that is still not solved. While life expectancies are longer, the quality of life is better for the most grave types of brain cancer, brain tumors. But there is still a long way to go to ultimately solve the problem. But along the way, while it can be discouraging sometimes, when we haven't solved the problem, I'm always encouraged by the fact that we're bringing hope to people. When people who come to our 5K and they say that Head for the Cure is their favorite day of the year, I know that we're fulfilling our promise, a promise that I made to my brother years ago to help that one person. We've helped many thousands. And I think that's what I've come to realize is, yes, we fund clinical trials. Yes, we implement programs, support groups, etc. But mostly we work to inspire hope in people. And I think we do that through creating a joyful experience. Our events are celebrations, they're parties. And people who are coming there facing a serious diagnosis, and the outcome of our work provides input to the best scientists and doctors in the world, but we do it through a celebration.
I guess I'm trying to figure out where to start. I started having these weird deja vu attacks. I would get deja vu of scenarios that I had like never been in before, you know? But I'd walk into a room and see a million strangers that I'd never seen in my life and have deja vu. Just this really uncomfortable feeling. Turns out those weird little deja vu things I had are actually called auras, and they're a form of a seizure. There's no good tumors, but the glioblastoma is the one that's really bad, and mine is grade 4. I was in the process of starting a new job that I was really excited about, and I was, oddly enough, signing my insurance paperwork, and I had a seizure, I guess. That's my last memory before waking up in the hospital. That's when they found a GBM, size like a golf ball. They scheduled a craniotomy next day. Maybe this isn't, like, just something I'm gonna kick and be back to work next week. You know, maybe I'm in for a little more than I thought. I asked to not hear my prognosis for, like, a couple weeks at least. I didn't think there was any good in it. We'd just gotten engaged. We'd just bought a house. Finally, one day, my mom and I went to lunch, and I just flat out asked her, "Do you think this is gonna take me out like earlier than I should go?" And she was like, "They do." Standard prognosis, 13 to 18 months. You don't want to believe it. No. Somebody's telling you that somehow 18 months from now, you should be in the ground. That's fucking gnarly, man. If I truly just lived in it and was like, well, I'm sick. Guess that's my life now. Then that's probably what my life would be. But it's not. So how do you fight? The biggest thing I can do to fight is just live my life, man.
You got it.
I try to live the absolute most normal life that I can. I just happen to be, air quotes, sick. I have a beautiful home, great friends, these pets that I love so much, and I've got to build it all with my wife. And there is no way that I've gotten this far to just let some dumb cell in my brain take it away. I like to think that if I didn't have this thing on my head, you wouldn't know that I'm sick.
What exactly does it do?
It works like Roundup does with a weed. So this sends these tumor treating fields through my head, and they're like literally mapped to my brain. I've broken 6 of these from skateboarding. I wear a goofy hat. That's about as much as I'm acknowledging this thing, short of trying to make other people smile.
Well, hello. I hope you guys like my new hat. This will be my new hat for the next 2 years.
Started chemo this week, not gonna lie. That kicked my ass. Woo!
Rode my skateboard for the first time this week. Don't tell my doctor that. Any of them? All 1,000 of them?
What's up, everybody? Just out here keeping it spicy.
You know, I was a few months in, and I probably should have been feeling really bad. bad things should have started happening. Like, why weren't they?
What is up, guys? Next week will mark 1 full year since my seizure and my diagnosis with glioblastoma. Thank you all so much for supporting me.
So, my cancerversary, 1 year after my successful craniotomy. My wife, my family, my friends all gathered at my house. And we had a great celebration. I got my motorcycle that day. Probably one of the greatest days of my life. The next day, I had an MRI. They told me that the tumor was back literally like a year to the day. It's back, it's just as bad. We're going back in. To go from that high to that low, that was really, really dark. 2 days later, I went in for my second craniotomy.
What's up, guys? Guess what? I'm leaving the hospital after 2 days. Another 30 some odd staples to the head.
I've taken chemo 7 days a week. I've taken weird experimental stuff, but I firmly believe that the biggest medicine that has worked for me has been the attitude, friendship, Kansas City behind me, all of that.
Love you, doggy. You got this. You're amazing.
What everyone has given me in support and love and energy, like I feel that. I feel better and it shows. Like there's no reason that I should be here. And that is what has healed and will continue to for well past 18 more months. What's up, guys? I had an MRI and it came back clear. No signs of movement in the tumor, no growth, no nothing. They're gonna take me off chemo. They think I'm ready. I'm so damn excited. I couldn't have done all this without you. Thank you for being with me every step of the way. I love you all so much.
I'm still going.
I firmly believe that even though this is a terrible, terrible thing, I was given a lot of gifts out of it. Having somebody be like, hey man, I'm fighting something similar, thanks for smiling. Nothing ever could be like ever cooler than that. If you would ask me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, what do I really want in life? I have all of it. I've got it made. So it's only right maybe that I have a little adversity because everything else is pretty cool, man.
early on, I always went by 18. I'm at least making it to 18, you know, and then that went to kicking 18, and now there's not even a number. You know what? Maybe if I'm rare enough to get this thing, I'm rare enough to beat it, right? Like, if I'm rare enough to do it once, I'm rare enough to do it again. I'm rare enough to live, man.
And now, Nick Vaughn.
CLS, this is surreal. The path that I had to take to be here right now. Oh my God. Anyways, let's get started. Last year, while my wife and I were planning our son's first birthday party, I was struck by lightning. Or should I say I was hit with the medical equivalent of getting struck by lightning? That's my brain, and that is stage 3 brain cancer at 34 years old. On May 31st, 2018, after a series of intense and unsettling headaches, it was discovered that I had a very large brain tumor on my right temporal lobe. Talk about a gray May. 2 months later, on July 19th, I was in a 6-hour brain surgery at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, undergoing a craniotomy, or brain tumor removal surgery. With over 95% of the tumor resected, the surgery was considered a success. However, the 2 main side effects was the loss of half my vision and a traumatic brain injury. I was also diagnosed with stage 3 anaplastic astrocytoma, a type of brain cancer. I was in total shock and disbelief, but I knew I had to be strong and stay positive for my family. The rest of my time since that day was spent recovering and relearning how to think like a normal person again. Also, to remove the remaining 5% of the tumor and prevent its return, I started a strict regimen of chemotherapy and radiation therapy. This was a very difficult time for my wife and I. On top of all the fear and uncertainty, because of the brain injury, surgery, and radiation, I was helpless. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't see. I couldn't drive. I could barely walk. I couldn't tell time or count money or keep track of my never-ending list of doctor's appointments and medication schedule. One of my occupational therapy classes was how to not get lost if I walk inside a building. Yeah, I had it pretty bad. But I think my wife, Jessica, had it worse. She had to watch as her husband faded away and was forced to take care of me full time, all while taking care of our 1-year-old son, our 2 dogs, and her local business. I would have died without her. She quite literally saved my life. That is not a figure of speech. And she became my guardian angel. I absolutely would not be here this day without her. And she's here with us today. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. I know what you did for me, and I know what I put you through. And one day I'll make it up to you if that's possible. The diagnosis of a brain tumor is extremely rare, and I asked every doctor I saw how this happened to me, and they all replied that I have really bad luck. Really, really bad luck. So you're probably thinking right now that I'm the most unlucky person alive. But I am, however, still alive. And although yeah. Oh my God. Thank you. I had never felt more lucky in my entire life during this journey. I was blessed in too many ways to recount them all. Aside from my wife, oh God, look at her, Dr. Vaughn, she's beautiful. The full package. My son Declan was a blessing to me by keeping a constant smile on my face and in my heart, by just being the most hilarious little dude, and motivating me to keep going, get stronger, move faster, fight harder. I was blessed to be working at Hallmark at the time of my diagnosis, and they literally could not have been more accommodating, helpful, or supportive of me. I was blessed to have my fellow coworkers, my fellow Hallmarkers. There was never a day there wasn't a call from someone to see how I was doing, ask if they could take me out to lunch, say they missed me. There was never a day that there wasn't a card, or 10, or 20, or 30. You never had a card shower like a brain cancer card shower. At Hallmark, we all talk about the Hallmark spirit. They were collectively the Hallmark spirit personified. I was blessed to make a relatively quick and miraculous recovery, and I'm blessed now to have a new outlook on life. And although I may be half blind, it's afforded me the vision to truly see all the small blessings in life. And I really want you all to know that whether you can see them or not, you're all also truly blessed. So be thankful, because every new day is a gift and a blessing. Act accordingly. You never see the bullet that gets you coming, so don't wait for lightning to strike. Live intentionally. Spread love. Make your mark. I almost had to die to be here to tell you that. And I am deadly serious. Don't take it for granted. Make your stinking mark.